Okay, where are we? Some kind of castle. Castle. Where is this castle? Where are we and what is this? This is a post office. Oh yes. Construction began in 1892, Washington, D.C. The old post office and clock tower located at 1100 Pennsylvania Avenue. It now serves as a hotel. There we go. Come on. Was it not a hotel first, and then it was turned into a post office, and then it was turned back into a hotel? I don't know. This building, 1882. Look at the people. La-di-da. Mud flood windows here, big time. La-di-da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 stories, and then the tower? The tower, though. For a post office? Okay, these windows are just crazy. But these? These little windows? Let's go a little deeper. I thank you for being here this week. I love you all. God bless and welcome. So the post office, 1892, completed in 1899. This is a type of Richardsonian Romanesque, a BS character, in my opinion. Given credit for this style, this overdone style. What about this beauty? Where is this? And they're right. I mean, the same style. This one is just smaller and has the adornments of religious symbolism, just overdone. Overdone if it was a post office. Overdone if it was a church. A church could end here. That's it. Perfect church. Just end it here. No. It would be acceptable to have one of these structures up here. But 3, it would be acceptable to have no features on the inside parts here that nobody can see. But nothing was spared. Here we can see another example. This building was the Trinity Church in Boston, designed by Richardson in 1872. Okay, 1872 church in Boston. Here in 1880, the same guy. The same man designed this building. Really overdone. Every single element is overdone. And not just cheap facading. Everything is the finest quality here. No shortcuts. Again, the tower, the excess, the columns up here. This is just flaunting abilities in every way. Everything about this is the most difficult in this time period when we're told these buildings were built. Doubling the price. I don't care if you built it today or back then. Doubling the price, continuing above this half point. And did they go cheap? No. They went even more extravagant as they reached the top. Albany City Hall. There we go. City Hall, 1880, New York. 1880. Pre-power. I don't know if you have been to your city hall before. I've been to many city halls in many cities. Government buildings, basically. Pay a permit, pay a fee, pay this, pay that. No big deal. An office, usually ugly, sterile. I mean, government sterile. Filing cabinets, cheap office furniture, water cooler. I mean, really, doesn't need to be any more than 1 floor. That's all. Bottom line, City Hall. Then and now. But no, this is what we get. Again, at a time when horse and carriage is the state-of-the-art, greatest innovation. Here's another courthouse in Indiana. Good old Indiana. I think this one was designed by Richardson. Maybe not. Maybe it's just attributed to the Richardsonian Romanesque tradition. And here's one in Ohio. In 1900, the Toledo Club. This must have been a bar. The old Toledo Club. Mud-flood windows, brick streets, carriage, horse on the sidewalk, fire hydrant, and power lines. If this is the 1900s, these power lines look older than 10 years old. And these buildings look older than 10 years old. And yet we're told all of this is brand new. So let's take a pause. Okay, next part. Where are we? What a mess. Like just a bunch of demolishing of buildings here. And what about this building? This building is the Allegheny County Courthouse in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, completed in 1888. 1888. Pittsburgh. So earlier we were in Washington, D.C., looking at a post office. But what about Pittsburgh? A steel and coal town. Industrial. If you don't know, Pittsburgh is an industrial area. Coal miners. Basically hard-working people. And hard-working people going to the courthouse, paying taxes, would not be impressed by this. This would be an absolute insult and slap in their coal mining faces, pissing away their money in this extravagant way. This block work, this castle. How can you justify building a castle like this? We're told it was also a jail. Oh, there we go. That makes more sense. Courthouse and jail. Often the case. Especially back then, with the repurposing. Here's the entryway to the courthouse and jail. Again, the Richardsonian style, very important. Here's just a little peek at her. Again, the excess of columns. And these are some of my favorite columns, these pink marble geopolymer style columns. Look how a tree is growing up here. Little small bit of vegetation. And again, as if the tower is already unnecessary, we're gonna adorn it like this? Look at these columns. These Corinthian super long, skinny, pink marble columns way up here. And then smaller ones, the arches, and the portholes. Gotta have the portholes. This tower, easily 6 to 10 stories. The tower is 325 feet tall. Again, built in 1888. To give you a reference point, the Washington Monument sits at 550 feet. So this thing's like 200 feet less than the Washington Monument. Again, just to show you the frivolosity that we're dealing with here. I'll just stick a Washington Monument on the side of the building. Why don't we? Not to mention, the Washington Monument is supposed to just be an obelisk. Just a dumb, blocky structure, where this is absolutely complex, engineered to the tip-top. I mean, you might take this for granted, but this is an engineering feat here. This is boasting. These enormous archways up here with a single skinny column in between. And again, another crazy element to all of this, as if there wasn't enough craziness, is that this was designed by this same man, this same BS man, Henry Richardson Hobson. Henry Hobson Richardson, forgive me. Whatever. It's a BS name. He is considered the greatest American architect ever. There we go. I mean, if I showed you a picture, you would laugh. I am Henry. Why are you dressed as a monk, Henry? He died in 1886, 2 years before the building was even complete. Well, yeah, otherwise he was building several per year, if we're to accept his portfolio. So what can I say? Only that that building replaced this building. This building, we're told, was built in 1857 and burned down in a fire in 1882. So that's even more crazy. I mean, these people are damn near pilgrims. Look at these guys down here. Would you like to come over and have some turkey and stuffing? That sounds great. Turkey and stuffing for the pilgrims. Courthouse. So this was their courthouse. These turkey-eating pilgrims needed a courthouse like this? Stupid. They're not even using it. They're just frolicking around. La-di-da. And the thing does not look like a courthouse. And how interesting that they tell us this. They could have just left that out. I mean, this one's old enough and impossible enough. Why throw this one in too? Is it to muddy the waters and just totally confuse anyone researching this? I mean, this is just a mind blower. Any one, again, would be enough. This is enough. Why tell us about the first one? We can't even wrap our heads around this one. Unbelievable. Here it's actually two buildings connected by this bridge. This is totally built in this time period as well. Look at these blocks, the size, all of it clearly goes into the ground deeper. Castle in every way. Here's a little courtyard and a fountain. Pause. Next part. So Henry Hobson Richardson, he dies before he completes this building. 600 men, 6 years, hand tools, no electricity. It's one thing just to build a building like this, but within this 30-year window, they built 50 at least buildings just like this. Let me show you some examples. If the Albany courthouse was just an outlying exception, we could say, okay, a lot of people came together in a very difficult time and built this building. Where are we? This is the Milwaukee City Hall. Milwaukee. I use tools by a company called Milwaukee. Again, a monstrous tower, like Washington Memorial Monument style. Now let's look at Antwerp City Hall in Belgium, a place I visited in 1996. I hitchhiked through Europe and I was blown away, even knowing nothing of what I do today. Antwerp, Belgium. Next, let's look at the Kansas City Federal Building, 1884. How about Hamburg, Germany? The Rothus, 1897. Now, let's jump over to the other side of the realm. We've discussed this in the past. The city of Montevideo, Uruguay, 1925. The old post office. Now you must notice something by now. These buildings, all in different nations, built by different architects and builders, different governments, people, different customs, separated by chunks of water. It should be difficult to traverse in this time period, and yet we see something very similar. The symmetry, proportions, the layout of the windows, the relationship between the tower and the base, the arched entryways, and the ornate detail that seems to have been crafted by the same hand, or at least builders throughout the realm. Now we're told that this was a movement throughout the world, the Beaux-Arts movement, or Romanesque revival, and all these stupid names, as if like an architectural trend could just spread like a novel. And these kind of skills aren't just something that can be hired off the streets in front of your Home Depot. These are crafts that would have to be understood well in advance. Not just something you're inventing or figuring out as you go, as is often told to us in the explanation. Where did all the craftsmen come from? Especially when we're a young nation. Sure, you're going to need skilled artisan craftsmen, but you're really going to need a lot of labor, just hard labor that's going to suck up most of the workers. Especially with little skills, little schooling. They often talk about the architects, but not the craftsmen, the builders. And again, they're just pumping out buildings like this. And around 1920, 1930, everything comes to a stop. Like, we would never build like this again. Not at the rushed pace that we had 30 years prior, we're told. The buildings become what they call a brutalist style, and honestly, I think they're just the same buildings, but instead of fixing them up, they're dumbing them down. squaring them off. Here we can see an 1890s building next to a 1960s building. We can see an old cathedral next to a Mormon church. Why is everything getting worse? Or is it that we're just starting to build now? Having overused and repurposed every building into everything imaginable, we begin demolishing them and building junk. So I think I'm done here. I hope you've enjoyed. I thank you for joining me. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Like anything, there's so much more to everything. And as I sit here, kind of bored, and yet kind of at peace, I feel why not express and share my thoughts, create something. The alternative is listening, watching videos, or I could actually have some conversations with friends or family. I don't know why. I mean, for 100 years, everybody played the role. And we do play a role. And that's alright if you enjoy the role. But maybe, for better or for worse, you're stricken with the desire for authenticity. Oh, what a burden and what a blessing. Again, if you're happy playing a role, I wouldn't want to burst anybody's bubble. Let them play the role, whatever that is. The job, the member of society, the lover, the family member, friend, or even the channel creator. But eventually you might want to play something else or not play, and it depends. But oftentimes when we stop playing the role just for a moment, again stricken by the desire for authenticity, or just burnt out on playing the role, whichever, you discover that people don't like it. People expect the old you and the old role. It's the role they signed up for in their mind. And it's the same with us. Other people might become their authentic selves, and you may or may not like their new self. That's okay. We should still be happy for them, if they are happy, and if they are truly authentic. If they've just given up one role and are playing a new role, then that's not authenticity. Perhaps it's AI and the rise of the artificial. We watch YouTube because we grew tired of Hollywood. I mean, that's the ultra polished and artificial. We were more attracted to YouTube post-Hollywood because it was real people. And people still watch TV. They tried to sell us reality TV, and it was quickly exposed as just being scripted and set up. And we're seeing the same thing on YouTube. Kind of imposters of authenticity. Kind of selling an idea. A lot of selling. And I get it. That's the world we live in. We live in a world where you must sell. And the less you need, the less you have to sell. I'm a fan of Daoish, I believe, but the total opposite. And he eventually left. He renounced the city and he renounced any duties and rode off into the wilderness. And before he did so, the guard at the gate told him, "Leave us something." And he wrote the Tao Te Ching. And I don't know about that story. But the wisdom in that book is divine. I say I don't know about that story because it's too brilliant to just sit down and write at the gates of the city. Not to mention he has a second book, The Unknown Teachings of Lao Tzu, the Hua Hu Ching. And the Hua Hu Ching is perhaps even better than the Tao Te Ching. So many times in my life I've found myself really with no one. These boring evenings. And again, I think boredom is peace. It really is. Look how peaceful it is here. There's a cat laying in front of me. No sounds. It's just your perspective. And I've almost run away. I've been here 20 years. It's funny how a dream can fade. A dream is a dream after all. I mean, especially if you haven't lived it. It's just a dream. It's your imagination and your desire to experience it. And most people will not experience their dream, or maybe not attempt. And it's very hard. Sometimes things have to fall apart before we have the courage. Or sometimes maybe we get angry and that gives us the strength. Cross the bridge, metaphorically, whatever that is. And for me, it was just moving out here. This land that I live on now was 2 hours away from the city that I lived in, and it just seemed impossible. I wanted the house there before I moved, and things didn't really work out that way. They worked out. For me, it was sadness. It took a great sadness. I don't want to say to give me the strength, because I didn't really have the strength, but the sadness took away perhaps the fear. Very interesting how emotions can override other ones. And sometimes emotions are the same emotions. Like fear and excitement kind of have the same feelings, but it's just the way that we're perceiving the experience. And going back to boredom and peace, they also have the same feeling. It took me a long time to notice and appreciate this. I think it was my animals. Even now, my cat just laying here. So cute. And they have absolute peace. Sometimes my dog is a little more high-strung, but he's very peaceful too. And I would think, why can't I be peaceful? The only difference is I had perceived problems. Of course, they have problems too sometimes, but they don't let them fester in their minds, mull over them. I also joined another group that I discovered on YouTube, speaking on the subject of peace. I almost forgot to share. And it's a really great group, although I haven't been going for some time, but I look forward to returning. It kind of changed, and it was kind of like a peaceful group. The teacher used to say that this group was like the last resort for spiritual thinking. And I think he was right. And he knew all the spiritual lines of thinking, all the teachers and gurus and religions. Kind of felt like I did too, to some extent. And yet something was missing. I think that's why he said that his class or his group or his teachings were the last stop. And his teachings are very simple, but even simple things are complex. They take time to understand because our minds are in knots. And he kind of taught me to focus my mind again. All of us can achieve whatever we want in life, but we must focus. Can't just be all excited one day and let it go for several others. I mean, focus on what it is you're looking for. And even more importantly, know what it is you want. That's definitely step one. And most people don't give this much thought. This simple idea. And I do often, and yet I forget on a day-to-day basis. What am I doing? What do I want? And it changes every day. Changes all the time. I have a whiteboard behind me. And just before this video, I erased everything on the whiteboard. At least all the things that I thought I wanted. Over the last couple months, I didn't care anymore. They made me sick. I feel good having nothing on that board. And ultimately, that's what my teacher's class taught me. I wanted the wrong things. Many of us do. We think we want this or that, but really we don't want this or that. We're actually seeking a feeling. I mean, in short, we're all seeking something like peace or joy, something like that. And we think that like getting this or that, a car, a job, a house, a lover, will bring us peace or joy. But it seldom does. Seldom does anything in the external world bring you the things that you think you're lacking. Which again, I think are like joy and peace and whatever. You know, like probably like things that are internal. I mean, you'll experience those things internally. Sure, temporarily, these outer things can bring you peace. But even that peace, what is that peace? That peace is experienced within you. It's manufactured and experienced within you. So, could you just get that peace? Is that like a shortcut in life? Is that like a hack? If you could get the peace and not need to run around and get all the shit on the outside. I mean, still get the stuff, okay, still have goals, still dream your world, but go for the cheat code. I mean, don't, spend 20 years trying to make $1 million to then have peace. But don't forgo trying to make the $1 million either, if that's what you want. I'm just using that as an example, an extreme one. But yeah, why not? Or at the very least, like the bird seeks a worm in the morning or whatever, a bug. We too have needs. And if you're here right now listening to these words, your needs have been met, including mine. Yes, it's been a struggle, but in the end, our needs have been met. We've eaten, we've slept, we're clothed. Certainly if we're on the internet, our basic needs met. And when I first moved out here, I lived in a tent. Honestly, that's sufficient. And a tent for $1 million may or may not bring you peace or happiness. It just depends on your level of satisfaction. Know what is enough and you'll always have enough. I forget who said that. And it's true. It's like I said, I was happy out here, at least for the first 10 years. Until I came up with a reason why maybe I wasn't. And now I created a situation where my happiness was no longer here. Of course it was, but in my mind it wasn't. It was somewhere else. And I didn't even know where that was. So I think I'll end this video. I thank you. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one.